Welcome to your class for today. I'm Kayla, I will be your guide. We'll start in a seated position, so taking all the time you need to come into a place of comfort. You can sit on a blanket, maybe propping your hips up with a bolster or a pillow. Option as well to use blocks under the knees or books if you don't have blocks. Pillows work great as well. Option to sit in a chair. Taking all the time you need, pausing this recording, pausing me if you need to grab different props or grab some pillows from your couch. Anything that'll help to support the body. Good, and then arriving together on the mat. Landing in the practice, landing on the mat. Finding the breath. And we'll begin with 3 cleansing breaths to really move out any sticky or stagnant energy in the system, to put behind us the day thus far, and to invite in this sense of freshness and clarity to the practice. So I'll demonstrate what this looks like first, and then we can move through a few of them together. So we'll inhale deeply, and then exhale, hinging at the hips, bringing the chest towards the ground, and exhaling audibly, pushing out every last little bit of air. So it'll look something like this. And so we'll do this 3 times together, exhaling, exhaling, exhaling all the air out of the body. And then inhaling together. 2 more. And then lifting the body, coming back to neutral, returning the breath to normal. Rooted through the spine, and finding length out through the crown of the head. A balance of both integrity and surrender in the body. Stability and ease. And moving through another pranayama practice, another breathwork exercise to help shift us into the parasympathetic nervous system, telling our body that it's okay to rest, it's okay to sink into the slower pace of this practice. In this practice, we will be holding asanas or postures for a bit of a longer time to really reap the energetic benefits and sink into the nourishment of the asana of the practice. And so this breathing exercise will help to allow the mind to sink into a slower pace. So we'll inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 5. So I'll count for a few rounds and then you can move through at your own pace. So exhaling all the breath. And then we'll inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Continuing like this with your own breath at your own rhythm. Breathing deep into the bottom of the belly, filling the whole breath capacity. And if 5 feels too high, if there's any strain or pressure in the breath, option to drop down to 4 or 3, whatever feels like a lengthening breath that still feels easeful. And option to stay here at 5, or if this feels comfortable and you would like to experiment with lengthening the breath further, you can increase the count to 7. Inhaling for 7 and then exhaling for 7. If you're at 7, finishing the round you're on, and then dropping the count back down to 5. One more round in your own pace. And then softly allowing the breath to return to a natural rhythm. No counting, no manipulation. Allowing the attention to rest on the breath as it is. Maybe closing the eyes or softening the gaze, turning the attention inwards. And I invite you to think of this practice not so much as an asana practice, but more of a meditation in motion. Keeping a soft gaze or the eyes closed for as much of the practice as feels comfortable. Becoming aware of your direct experience. Every minute of this journey. Knowing that I am here simply to guide you. And And everything that I suggest is just a suggestion. And so if something doesn't feel right in your body, I encourage you to take a different variation, take a different posture. This is really your practice. And I invite you to, use that to the fullest potential. Use your agency. Listen to your body's wisdom. Inviting a softness into the belly and the hands. The muscles of the face. Feeling the ground below you. And the air on your skin. Arriving in this moment. And gently bringing some movement into the body. We can allow the hands to come onto the ground in front of us. And just slowly walking the hands forward, coming into a fold. Releasing the weight of the body, releasing the weight of the head. Option to rest the forehead on a block or a pillow here. Breathing space into the back of the body, rooting down through the hips. And on your next natural inhale, rising up onto the fingertips and just walking the fingertips over to the left, aligning the chest with the left thigh, and then sinking down here, releasing the weight of the head, rooting down through that right sit bone. Breathing space into the right side of the body. And then inhaling, rising up onto the fingers and walking the fingertips over to the right side. Chest aligning with the right thigh and then dropping the body, dropping the weight of the head. Rooting down through the left sits bones. And then inhaling up onto the fingers, walking the fingertips back through center and in towards the body. Allowing the left hand to rest on the mat beside you. Inhaling, lifting the right arm up overhead. Walking the fingertips out to the left side, leaning towards the left, breathing space into the right side of the body. Fingers on the right hand turn slightly in, and there's intention in the fingers, so the fingers aren't flopping down, but we're really elongating through the arm. Bicep is in the line with the ear. Inhaling, walking the left hand in towards the body, and then allowing it to come behind the spine, and the right hand coming just above the left knee. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine, and exhaling, twisting to the left, looking over the left shoulder. Allowing this movement to really come from the core here. So if you lifted both your hands, the body would still be in the same place. So we're not yanking the body into position here with the hands. Inhaling, coming back through center, hands on the mat. Allowing a moment for the spine to neutralize. And then placing the right hand on the mat, inhaling the left up overhead, pinky turns slightly in, extending out through the fingertips. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine, and exhaling, walking that right hand out to the side, reaching towards the right. Rooting down through the left sits bones and extending out through the left fingers. Inhaling, walking the right hand back in towards the body and coming behind the spine, dropping that left hand to just above the right knee. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine, and exhaling, twisting over to the right, looking over the right shoulder. Allowing the movement to come from the core. And then inhaling, coming back through center, resting the hands. And then bringing the hands to touch the shoulders. Start to draw some circles with the shoulders, with the elbows. Supporting the joints and the longevity and sustainability of our practice, as well as allowing our attention to land in the sensation of the body. Switching directions if you haven't done so yet. And that'll do. Allowing the hands to rest in the lap, on the knees, or on the ground. And on your next natural exhale, dropping the chin towards the chest. Breathing into the back of the neck. And on your next natural inhale, exploring the movement as the right ear finds its way towards the right shoulder. Becoming aware of how far down the back and up into the face this stretch is felt. Exhaling chin to chest, becoming aware of all the micro sensations involved in this movement. And then inhaling the left ear towards the left shoulder, slowly and with intention. Taking a deep breath here. And then exhaling the chin back to the chest and moving through this motion in your own pace, as if it was the very first time. Inviting a curiosity and a spontaneity into a movement that can often become mechanical. And then dropping the chin back towards the chest. And inhaling, lifting the head back to center. Closing the eyes and gazing up into the place between the eyebrows, the center of the forehead. We'll move the head from side to side, tilting the chin. Physically warming up the neck and energetically starting to call upon the energy of Ajna Chakra. And that'll do, finding stillness. Noticing what's alive in the body. Perceiving the vibrancy of our bodies. All the sensations, pulsations, tingling and temperature. And then perceiving the silence and the stillness of the body. Bringing the hands down onto the mat and turning so that your body is aligned with the long side of the mat. We'll extend the legs out in front as we prepare to come into a seated forward fold. Option to place a rolled up blanket or a bolster under the knees. This can take some pressure off the backs of the legs. And maybe moving the fleshy bits of the bum to the side to really establish a grounded base in the sits bones. Walking the hands forward towards the feet, allowing the body to release down towards the legs. Dropping the weight of the head, releasing the neck. Breathing into the base of the spine. A posture for Muladhara chakra. Cultivating a sense of groundedness, vitality, and stability in the body, the mind, throughout all layers of being. Breathing in vital earth energy into the base of the spine. An option to internally recite the bija mantra associated with the earth element of Muladhara chakra. Lam, L-A-M, Lam. If the mind gets pulled away, gently and compassionately, coming back to the breath at the base of the spine, or the internal recitation of the bija mantra, Lam. Thoughts in life will come and go. Emotion, sensation. It's the ebb and flow of life. And it is through cultivating a strong Muladhara that we are not so swayed by the whims of the mind, but rather remain steady and sturdy amidst them. On your next natural inhale, gently, slowly walking the hands back towards the hips, straightening up through the spine, softening the gaze or closing the eyes if they are open. And just allowing for a moment to rest in the effects of this asana, of this meditation. And gently removing any props that you may have under your knees. Crossing the legs, grabbing onto the toes, and rocking forward onto the knees. We'll come into a tabletop position. So establishing Hasta Bandha in the hands, all four corners of the palms engaged. Wrists, elbows, and shoulders in a line, micro bend in the elbows. Knees stacked under hips. And there's integrity in the body. We're stable as though we're waiting for a small child to hop on our back. Moving through some cat-cows on an inhale, inviting you to gently lift the tailbone, drop the belly, and then lift the head. Coming into a cow pose. Exhaling, dropping the tailbone, rounding the spine, and releasing the neck down towards the ground, coming into a cat pose. Inhaling, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the head. Exhaling, dropping the tailbone, rounding the spine, releasing the neck. Moving between these two at your own pace, really allowing the breath to inform the movement. And moving like a wave from the base of the spine up to the top of the head. Working with Svadhisthana chakra, in the area of the pubic bone. Calling upon these qualities of creativity and sensuality. And the element of water in the body. All that is fluid. An option to stay here with cat-cow, or alternatively allowing the movement to become a little bit more free. Maybe looking over one shoulder and then another, maybe drawing circles with the hips. And coming down into child's pose and back up again, really exploring movement here. Freely like water flowing through a stream. Option to chant the internal bija mantra, the water element, Vam, V-A-M, Vam. And slowly coming back towards stillness in tabletop. And a couple deep breaths here. And then shifting the weight back onto the heels. Placing the hands over the sacral area just above the pubic bone. And perceiving the effects of the asana and the intimacy of your own experience. Rising up onto the knees. Option to place a blanket under the knees if the knees are sensitive. And bringing the hands just above or on the belly button. Option as well, if the knees are really sensitive, you can curl the toes, and this will take some pressure off of the knees as well. Finding a slight engagement of the core and keeping the chin slightly tucked as though we have that apple between the chin and the chest. And just starting to gently rock backwards, shifting the weight back and forth, feeling this subtle engagement of the core. Starting to bring the energy up into Manipura chakra, located at the navel, the element of fire in the body. An option to stay here with this bobbing, or alternatively you can curl those toes and come back into a camel, reaching the hands towards the heels, or as well onto blocks. Opening through the chest, engaging through the core. And so if you're particularly hyper-flexible or hypermobile, you may be able to do this, but it'll have more of a back bend effect, and there won't be so much engagement in the core. So if this is the case for you, I encourage you to come back up to this gentle rocking or hinging at the knees, finding whichever variation allows for this engagement of the core. So whether that's this subtle bobbing or coming back towards camel. If you're in camel, making sure the chin is slightly tucked so we're not bringing the energy up into the throat, but keeping it down in Manipura. So finding the variation which is most supportive to your practice of this engagement of heat. This work with the qualities of Manipura, such as willpower, drive, determination, confidence. Bija mantra Ram, R-A-M, Ram. Allowing any shaking of the body to be a burning of stress, moving of energy. And then gently coming back up and sitting back on the heels, placing the hands over the navel. Awareness of the fire element in the body. And leaving one hand on the belly button, on the navel, and bringing one hand up to the heart. We can visualize with every exhale the fire that was cultivated in the core rising up to a soft candle flame in the heart. The fire of determination transforming into the heat of compassion. Bringing both hands to the heart. Feeling the subtle rise and fall of the chest as you breathe. And perhaps reconnecting to something that you feel very grateful for. Or maybe an intention of why you're participating in this asana class. Why you're here on the mat. What the heart is longing for. And feeling that fully alive in the center of the chest, here and now. Real and true. And we'll move into a kriya for Anahata chakra, the heart. The element of air. For the flame of the heart shines its light in all directions. It is everywhere. Bringing the hands into prayer at the heart. Rising up onto the knees, bringing the hands up towards the sky, opening the chest, opening the hands, releasing this love out into the universe. And then exhaling, coming to sit back on the heels, pulling the hands together, the center of the chest, prayer mudra. Option as well to stay on the knees and just move through this kriya with the upper body. Whichever variation you take, inhaling, offering, opening, releasing. Exhaling, pulling the hands together, coming back down into the heart, collecting, receiving. Inhaling, opening, releasing this love, releasing this gratitude and intention out into the universe. Exhaling, receiving these gifts, pulling it all back into the heart. Moving like this at your own pace with your own breath. A loving dialogue with the universe and the heart. Two more like this. And then resting in stillness. Sit bones resting on heels. And continuing to marinate in the fruits of Anahata chakra, cultivating in these qualities of compassion and unconditional love, true kindness. We'll come into a child's pose, and there are a few variations for this. One being leaving the toes to touch, reaching the knees out towards the edges of the mat, hands out on the mat in front of us, reaching the forehead down towards the mat. This will be more of a hip opener. And the alternative is to keep the toes touching, keep the knees touching, bringing the hands towards the feet and resting the head down towards the mat. This will have more of an internalizing effect. Option 2, support the body with a bolster or a pillow or perhaps a block underneath the forehead. Blanket under the knees, taking whichever variation feels supportive and comfortable for the body. Coming into a private little love cave. Allowing the attention to rest in the heart or on the bija mantra for the air element, Yam, Y-A-M, Yam. Each time the attention goes to the head, wanting to solve something, I point you to the heart, where everything is nicely dissolved in perfect wholeness. Whenever you're ready, gently bringing the hands towards the earth, pressing the weight into the hands, lifting the body. Bringing the feet to one side, coming to sit on the bum. Moving any props you may have, and just taking a moment to check in with the body, the mind, emotions. Noticing the effects of the practice with compassion and neutrality. Extending the legs out in front of us, we'll move into our sublimation practice. Bringing the energy up into the higher chakras, bringing a sense of clarity, longing, and spiritual longing and devotion. So allowing the spine to come down towards the earth. And if you're not familiar with the plow, I invite you to watch me first, as it's very dangerous to move the head from side to side while in the posture. So the first variation is to bring the feet up towards the sky and simply resting here. You can also place a bolster or a blanket underneath the tailbone. to get a little extra lift. This is the first variation. From here, if you'd like, you can support the hips and reach the feet towards the space behind the head. The feet don't have to touch the ground here. And if they don't, making sure that we're holding the hips, lots of support on the back. And so coming into the variation that feels the best for you in this practice today, and we'll just hold plow for a few breaths, opening up through the back. And then we'll move into a shoulder stand, and if you're not familiar, gently coming out of plow to watch me first, and then moving back in. Otherwise, gently lifting the feet up towards the sky, coming into a shoulder stand, placing the weight primarily on the shoulders and the backs of the arms and the elbows. Space between the feet, just slightly, and trying to find a straight line between the hips, knees, ankles, and down the spine. A posture for Vishuddha chakra and the ether element. And cultivating this longing or desire for spirit, for truth. Breathing in this cosmic energy through the feet, down the body, and into the center of the throat. And Bija mantra, hum. H-A-M, hum. Option to stay here if it feels particularly supportive, or gently dropping the feet back down to a plow, making sure you're not turning the neck, and if the feet don't touch the ground, loads of support on the hips. Option 2, also come out of the posture and grab a bolster or a block to rest the feet on if that feels more comfortable. If you decide to do this, making sure to move slowly and gently to grab the props you need. A posture for Ajna chakra, the control center for all of the other chakras, which is beyond the elements. Cultivating a sense of clarity, intuition, true seeing. Bija mantra Om. And gently, with tons of support on the hips, slowly releasing the spine back down to the earth, hugging the knees into the chest. Being careful not to lift the head or move too quickly. Allowing time for the spine to neutralize and the posture to integrate. And then extending the legs out in front of you, preparing for a final Shavasana. Option to place a blanket or a bolster beneath the knees here. To place a blanket over the body or an eye mask or a scarf over the eyes, maybe a sweater if you have one nearby. Releasing the weight of the body down into the mat. Arms by the sides with just enough room for the underarms to breathe. Surrendering the weight of the body into the ground. Feet relaxed. Legs relaxed. Hips and glutes relaxed. Hands relaxed. Arms relaxed. Shoulders relaxed. Belly, ribs, and chest relaxed. The neck, the face, the head relaxed. The whole body relaxed, supported by the ground. Option to stay here in Shavasana for as long as feels supportive. Or alternatively, bringing some soft movement into the fingers and the toes, the hands and the feet. Bringing movement back into the body in a way that feels nourishing to you. And whenever you're ready, gently rolling to one side. And pressing into the hands, coming up into a seated position. Keeping the gaze soft or the eyes closed and the focus internal. Bathing in the gift of your own presence. Maybe noticing in your experience what is here that was not here when you began the practice. Maybe what was here when you began the practice that is no longer here. And that which was here when you began, here throughout, here now, here always. Allowing the hands to find a position of gratitude, whatever that means for you. Maybe folded in the lap, maybe on the body, or in prayer. May the fruits of this practice shine forth in every moment of our day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you next time. Hari Om.